The shock you never expected. How COVID recovery might be hiding a heart attack in disguise. You thought you were safe. You survived COVID, didn't you? The fever eventually broke, the cough faded, and you slowly got back on your feet. Your oxygen levels normalized, your doctor gave you the green light, and your family celebrated your recovery with cautious relief. But what if I told you that the real danger wasn't the virus you fought, but the damage it left behind, still unfolding silently inside your chest? That's the terrifying reality facing thousands of older adults right now. Because while the world was focused on ventilators and ICUs, the real saboteur slipped through the cracks, targeting the one system most seniors already struggle to protect, the heart. COVID-19 didn't just attack the lungs, it launched a quiet war inside the cardiovascular system, inflaming blood vessels, destabilizing heart rhythms, and damaging the tiny nerves that control blood pressure and circulation. And the worst part? For many, the symptoms are so subtle they're mistaken for normal aging. A little fatigue here, a skipped beat there, some swelling in the ankles, shortness of breath on stairs. Nothing serious. Until one day it is. Until one day, you're lying in a hospital bed with wires on your chest, hearing words like arrhythmia, myocarditis, or silent heart failure. This isn't a hypothetical. Studies now show that older adults, even those who had mild COVID, face a dramatically increased risk of heart complications for up to a year or more after infection. Not just heart attacks, but strokes, clots, irregular rhythms, and unexplained cardiac death. You don't need to have had a severe case to be at risk. That's what makes this so dangerous. Because many seniors think that surviving the initial illness means they're in the clear. But the truth is darker. Survival is just the beginning. And the quiet, creeping damage that follows is often missed by routine exams and brushed aside as getting older. I've seen it firsthand. Patients who look fine on the outside, walking, smiling, laughing, until one day their heart gives out with no warning. No crushing chest pain. No drama. Just a slow unraveling that started weeks or months earlier, unnoticed. That's why awareness is your first and most powerful defense. You must understand that post-COVID heart risk is real, and it doesn't always look like what you expect. If you're over 60 and you've had COVID, your heart deserves extra attention. Not panic, but vigilance. Not fear, but understanding. Because if you've already survived the virus, you've shown incredible strength. Now, it's time to protect the very organ that helped carry you through. And that starts by unlearning the myth that recovery ends when the test turns negative. Because for many seniors, the most dangerous part of COVID may be what happens after the recovery begins. You tested negative. You thought the danger had passed. The coughing stopped, the fatigue eased, and you finally returned to your daily routine. Making breakfast, walking to the mailbox, chatting with friends on the porch. But what if I told you that a negative test doesn't mean your heart was left untouched? That's the myth so many seniors fall for, and tragically, it's one that's costing lives. COVID-19 wasn't just a respiratory illness. It was a systemic saboteur, one that infiltrated your blood vessels, disrupted your autonomic nervous system, and inflamed the very muscles that keep your heart beating. The virus may be gone, but its fingerprints remain, deep in your cardiovascular system, hidden from standard tests and quiet in their destruction. Seniors especially are vulnerable because what comes next is subtle. Lingering fatigue, lightheadedness, occasional shortness of breath, symptoms that most chalk up to just getting older. But here's the truth no one tells you. Post-COVID, your heart could be fighting a war you can't feel. It's not about what shows up on a rapid test or a basic checkup. It's about what doesn't. Inflammation may continue to smolder long after recovery, damaging the lining of your arteries and making clots more likely. The tiniest blood vessels, your microvasculature, may already be scarred, forcing your heart to pump harder for less oxygen. Even your nervous system, the automatic pilot for your heart rate and blood pressure, might be glitching without your knowledge. And yet, because you feel fine, you assume everything's okay. That's the trap. COVID has rewritten the rules, and seniors can no longer rely on how they feel to judge how their heart is doing. This is what researchers now call the silent phase of post-COVID cardiovascular damage, a period where symptoms are vague or non-existent, but risk is at its peak. Some people may notice changes but dismiss them. slower recovery after walks, occasional palpitations, nighttime sweating, or sudden fatigue while shopping. But these are the quiet whispers of a heart under strain. Whispers that, if ignored, may turn into the roar of a heart attack or stroke. The most terrifying part? This damage often doesn't show up in basic labs or EKGs. It's not about panic. It's about awareness. It's about knowing that survival from the virus was just one battle. Now the war for your heart begins. You can't afford to mistake peace for safety. Because COVID doesn't just end when the fever breaks. For many seniors, that's when the real danger begins. In the next section, we'll uncover how the most common warning signs of heart damage get brushed off as aging, and how that quiet denial might be the deadliest symptom of all. He used to blame it on age. The extra minutes it took to get out of bed. The way he had to pause halfway up the stairs. The slight breathlessness after trimming the hedges or carrying groceries in from the car. "I'm just getting older," he would say with a chuckle, brushing it off with the same casual shrug so many seniors use when their body starts whispering distress. But what if those whispers weren't aging at all? What if they were warning signs, subtle clues that his heart, still bearing the scars of a virus he thought he'd conquered, was struggling with every beat? That's the terrifying truth so many older adults face after surviving COVID-19. Because the virus doesn't always scream. Sometimes it deteriorates from within, using the slow disguise of what we've come to accept as the natural toll of time. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Seniors are especially vulnerable. Not just physically, but psychologically. We've been conditioned to normalize fatigue, accept forgetfulness, and expect stiffness and swelling as part of the deal we make with aging. But when these symptoms follow COVID, they may not be signs of aging at all. They may be signs of a heart that's inflamed, a vascular system that's compromised, or an autonomic nervous system that's no longer regulating blood pressure or heart rate correctly. The problem is, most people don't question it. They adjust their expectations. Walk a little slower, take more breaks, sleep a bit longer. And in doing so, they unknowingly accommodate the decline. I had a patient, Margaret, who survived COVID with only mild symptoms. She never went to the hospital. Just a week of low fever, a dry cough, some fatigue. A month later, she started feeling off. She was more tired than usual, dizzy when she stood up, and sometimes her heart fluttered strangely at night. But her EKG was normal. Her doctor told her to rest more. "You're not 30 anymore," he said. So she did, until the day she fainted at her grandson's birthday party. Paramedics rushed her in, and tests revealed myocarditis and early heart failure, likely brought on by post-COVID inflammation no one had thought to check for. The worst part: her story isn't rare. It's happening in senior communities around the world. Ordinary people mistaking extraordinary damage for routine aging. It's not their fault. It's how we've been taught to think about health after 60. But now the rules have changed. After COVID, normal aging might not be so normal. That shortness of breath could be your heart working overtime. That leg swelling might signal poor circulation. And that, just a little tired today, feeling could be your body waving a red flag. The key is awareness. The key is listening, not just to your doctor but to yourself. Because if you survived COVID and you're over 60, your body may still be recovering in ways you can't see. And the only thing more dangerous than ignoring the signs is assuming they don't matter. Let's talk about the red flags you've probably overlooked, the silent signals your body may be sending right now that most seniors brush off or adapt to without question. Because when it comes to post-COVID heart damage, the most dangerous symptoms aren't the dramatic ones. They're the everyday discomforts that sneak into your routine and settle there unnoticed. It starts innocently enough. Maybe you feel a little more tired after lunch, or need to rest more often during errands. You might notice your ankles puff up slightly by evening, or that climbing the stairs makes you stop and catch your breath more often than it used to. At night, your heart might beat just a little too fast, or too irregular for your liking. But instead of connecting these signs to something serious, you tell yourself what most people over 60 do. It's just part of getting older. That phrase has become the perfect hiding place for this invisible killer. And COVID knows it. Post-infection, your cardiovascular system is in a delicate state. Your blood vessels may have microtears, your heart muscle may be inflamed, Your nerves responsible for regulating blood pressure may misfire, and yet none of these will show up on a basic checkup or lab test unless your doctor is specifically looking for them. And let's be honest, most aren't. Because unless you walk into their office gasping for air or clutching your chest, they're not trained to suspect silent post-COVID damage in someone who looks relatively okay. That's how people like Tom slip through the cracks. Tom, 69, thought he was recovering just fine. He was walking daily, eating better, staying active. But he started waking up with a tightness in his chest. Not pain, just pressure. Some days he felt dizzy getting out of bed. Other days he noticed his heart skipping beats. Still, he didn't want to overreact. He took an extra nap here and there, drank more water, and told himself not to be dramatic. Then, one morning, he passed out in his driveway. No warning. No drama. Just a body that could no longer compensate for what COVID had done months earlier. The ER doctors later confirmed heart inflammation, fluid retention, and autonomic dysfunction. Classic post-COVID cardiovascular effects. The heartbreaking part? His body had been trying to tell him for weeks. The swelling, the fatigue, the arrhythmias, they were all warnings he didn't know to hear. That's why this phase of recovery is so treacherous. Because the damage feels quiet. It whispers instead of screams. And when it comes wrapped in the language of aging, we nod and accept it. But you don't have to. You can question that swelling. You can track that fatigue. You can challenge that doctor who says, it's nothing. Because it might be something. It might be your heart waving a white flag. And the sooner you listen, the better your chances of healing before it's too late. In the next section, we'll explore exactly what steps you can take, today, to uncover these hidden risks and protect your heart for the years ahead. So now that you know the danger is real, and that it hides in plain sight beneath the mask of aging, you're probably asking, what can I do? How do I protect my heart when everything looks normal on the surface? The answer begins with a shift in mindset, because the first and most powerful step is no longer assuming that feeling okay means you're in the clear. Start paying attention to the little things. Fatigue that doesn't improve with rest, shortness of breath during simple activities, heart palpitations, dizziness upon standing, swelling in the legs or feet, even subtle changes in sleep patterns or mood. Write them down. Track them. These are not minor annoyances. They could be early signs of something your heart is trying to handle in silence. Then take that journal to your doctor. Not just for a routine visit, but for a real conversation. Don't settle for vague reassurances. Ask for a full cardiovascular workup, not just blood pressure and a standard EKG. Request specific tests, a high-sensitivity CRP to detect inflammation, a cardiac MRI if symptoms persist, a Holter monitor if palpitations are present. Don't worry about sounding paranoid. You're not. You're being proactive, and in a post-COVID world, that might just save your life. But let's take it further. Diet and lifestyle now carry even more weight than before. This isn't just about managing cholesterol or keeping sodium low. It's about healing an immune system that's been shaken and supporting a vascular system that may still be recovering. Focus on anti-inflammatory foods. Fatty fish like salmon, leafy greens, berries, turmeric, olive oil. Avoid processed sugars, excessive red meat, and high-sodium packaged meals. And hydrate. Proper hydration is vital to maintaining healthy blood volume and pressure, especially when the nervous system may be dysregulated. Add gentle movement daily, not just for fitness, but to support circulation and reduce clot risk. You don't have to run a marathon. A brisk walk, stretching, or chair exercises are more than enough to get blood flowing and relieve tension. And don't overlook sleep. Sleep is when your body repairs the damage, regulates hormones, and lowers inflammation. If your sleep is poor, it's not a small issue, it's a cardiovascular threat. Create an environment that encourages rest. Cool, dark, screen-free, and consistent in timing. Finally, talk. Open up to family. Tell them what you're watching for. Share your concerns, not as complaints, but as awareness. You are not being a burden, you are being wise. Many lives have been lost in silence because someone thought, it's probably nothing. Let that phrase never pass your lips again. Because if you survived COVID, your story didn't end there. Your heart may still be fighting a hidden battle, and now you know how to join the fight. In the final section, we'll bring it all together, a new way to view recovery, aging, and life after survival. Not as a return to normal, but as a reawakening to everything your heart is still capable of if only you'll listen. There's a quiet strength in survival, but an even greater power in awareness. Because survival without reflection risks repeating the same blind spots that made you vulnerable in the first place. So let's pause for a moment, not to fear, but to understand what this chapter of your life really means. You didn't just survive COVID by chance. Your body, your immune system, your willpower carried you through a storm that took millions. But now you stand in the aftermath, not in safety, but in transition. This isn't just about recovery. It's about reinvention. For seniors, especially those over 60, the days of assuming that routine equals health are gone. You can no longer afford to treat checkups as boxes to tick or symptoms as background noise. Instead, this is your moment to redefine what being healthy means. It's no longer about avoiding the hospital. It's about truly listening to your body, honoring what it tells you, and making deliberate choices that protect your heart from what can't be seen with the naked eye. Maybe you were someone who never thought much about your cardiovascular system before. Maybe you prided yourself on being tough, pushing through discomfort, brushing off fatigue. But now, post-COVID, your relationship with your body must change. Because now you know, there's no such thing as just a little tired when it comes to your heart. There's no such thing as just getting older, when the virus may have left microscopic scars you can't feel until it's too late. And there's no such thing as overreacting when it's your life on the line. What you need now is vigilance without panic, discipline without obsession, and compassion. Yes, compassion, for the body that carried you this far. That means slowing down when your body asks you to. That means eating with intention, sleeping with purpose, and moving with gratitude, not punishment. It means holding space for the idea that something can be wrong even when everything looks right. And perhaps most importantly, it means becoming your own fiercest advocate in a medical system still catching up to the long-term effects of this virus. Ask questions. Demand answers. Get second opinions if something doesn't feel right. This is not paranoia. This is wisdom earned in the aftermath of survival. COVID may have changed your body, but it doesn't have to steal your future. Not if you reclaim it one breath, one heartbeat, one smart decision at a time. The truth is, no doctor, no test, no number can fully tell you what your heart is going through, but you can. If you listen. If you pay attention. If you stop treating survival as the end of a journey and start treating it as the beginning of something far more powerful. The second life your heart still has the strength to live. In the final part of this journey, we'll look toward the horizon. Not just what to fear, but what to hope for, and how this experience can make you not weaker, but wiser, and perhaps stronger than ever before. You made it through the storm, and now you stand at the edge of something new. Not a return to who you were, but a wiser, more attuned version of yourself. The virus tested your strength, but now comes the true challenge. How you choose to live with what it may have left behind. This is your second chance not just to survive but to thrive. To move through each day with deeper awareness. To listen when your heart whispers. To treat each breath not as background, but as a miracle. Yes, COVID left scars. Yes, the risk is real. But so is your power to respond. So is your right to ask for better care, demand deeper answers, and create habits that support, not sabotage, your heart. This isn't the end of your story. It's a new chapter. One written not with fear, but with clarity. Let others chase normal. You've seen behind the curtain. You know that the most dangerous threats are the ones we can't see. And now you know how to spot them, how to act, how to stay alive in the truest sense. Surviving COVID was only the beginning. Now you protect the heart that got you through it, and live like every beat matters.